This is my first. This is part one to Earl Spence fans getting that work. I'm not talking about Earl Spence getting that work, 'cause I ain't had no discussion with Earl Spence. I never had a debate with Earl Spence, but I had a debate with a lot of his fans, and this is Earl Spence fans getting that work part one. And there's many parts to come, but I'm gonna tell y'all what was the downfall to Earl Spence losing this fight in the fashion that he lost the fight in. Earl Spence was very convinced that he was the bigger, stronger fighter in this fight, and he thought all he had to be was bigger and stronger than Terence Crawford. Because when they had that meeting in that little hallway at the Maurice Hooker fight, or someone fight that they both attended, the first thing he said was, "You're light in the ass," and he kept telling Terence Crawford, "You're light, you're light. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna dog you. I'm gonna do this." And Earl Spence came from a physicality standpoint only, in a way of size, not looking at the fact that Earl Spence, that Terence Crawford had a 74-inch reach, and he was like 5'8". He wasn't. It's not like Earl Spence is like a giant over him. It's not like Earl Spence 5'11", 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2". It's not like he's 5'11" like De La Hoya and Trinidad, or you know what I'm saying, or Sugar Ray Robinson or Sugar Ray Leonard. It's not like he's 6 feet, 6'1" like Paul Williams and Thomas Hearns. He's not that much bigger than Terence Crawford. So he thought that was gonna win him the fight. He thought he was gonna win the fight easily. I don't believe that for a second Earl Spence thought he was gonna have that much trouble with Terence Crawford in the beginning. I'm talking about in the early years. In the early years, I don't think he did. And to me, that led to his downfall. And he actually, to me, never properly prepared himself or kept himself in the best of shape to get that work that he really needed to get in that mental focus that he needed to have for this fight. Because this fight right here, can you hear me? You can't hear me? You said I'm muffled? Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can get my headphones. Maybe I'll sound better with my headphones. Let me put my headphones on. Let me see. So he never thought that he needed to do anything but just be bigger than Terence Crawford. And I kept telling everybody that he's not that much bigger than Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford is deceptively skinny. The way his build is, he looked like he's not strong, but he has that Thomas Hearns, that Deontay Wilder type build, that long, lanky Nicholas Walters. Y'all remember Nicholas Walters, the Axe Man back in the day? Hold on, I still sound very low. Let me see, man. Why do I sound very low? I still sound very low. Or hold on, let me see. Do I still sound very low? But I still got low volume still. Man, I turned the volume up as high as I can turn the volume up. Can y'all hear me better now? But Earl Spence thought that his size was going to be the main factor in this fight. And mentally, he went into the fight just like that. Um, I don't know what he was looking at over Terence Crawford, years of um, fighting. I don't know if he paid attention to his fights, but I don't like fighters saying that they're not looking at their opponent's fight, because you have to study your opponent. Why not study your opponent when you can study your opponent? See, fighters back in the day used to actually go to each other's fights. Now, fighters don't really go to. I mean, they do go to each other's fights, but they see it as a weakness because they showing up at each other's fights. No, you want to see how the guy moves in the ring. You want to see how he deals with certain styles. Maybe the person he's fighting style kind of mimics your style. You want to see everything. Ray Leonard, he was at the Mugabe fight when Mugabe fought Hagler. Ray Leonard was at ringside. He was looking at the fight. That's how he said, "I can beat him." So why not prepare yourself at any cost? See, people are looking and see these fighters are paying attention and listen to Mayweather. And Mayweather say, I don't look at film. Now I don't believe Mayweather never looked at film. I don't believe Mayweather never looked at his opponent fight. I don't believe it. I just think Mayweather just was saying that, and a lot of these fighters, taking that as as the gospel. Like Mayweather don't look at tape. No, you should study your opponent. Anytime somebody is in your division and he's really good, that's a potential fight. That's a potential fight down the road or soon. So you need to know and study what the guy's doing. And then Derrick James is what I want to touch on too. Derrick James was on that all access on Showtime to build up to this fight, and he said, "I never really watched Terrence Crawford fight." I'm like, what? Hold on, you the trainer and you never really watched this man fight? And this man entered the division fresh off of being undisputed at 140. He entered the division. He beat Jeff Horn, stopped him to win the title, stopped Benavidez, stopped Kovalevskis, stopped Kell Brook, stopped Sean Porter, who never been stopped before. You know what I'm saying? Just stop everybody at welterweight. And you mean to tell me the first time you study his tape is when you got the call that y'all was about to fight him? To me, if I'm Errol Spence, when I heard that, if I heard that and I was Errol Spence, I'm like, hold on, what am I paying you for? I'm paying you to get me in the best, position possible. You see, Bomac years ago said we've been studying Errol Spence for a while. Years ago, he said that. He said we got Errol Spence down. When Terrence Crawford fight him, years ago he was saying this is going to be one of Terrence Crawford's easiest fights. That's what he was saying. That's what he was saying. And I told people that Terrence Crawford's style, although a good style for him, and he perfected his style, and he had very good success off his style via him winning 3 titles at welterweight and being undefeated at welterweight until he faced Terrence Crawford. His style is very basic. And when people keep on saying, well, he got the fundamentals. Okay, a lot of fighters have the fundamentals now. That's how they are able to compete at a high level. A lot of those guys got the fundamentals now. I don't know why people was just harping on Errol Spence fundamentals. Like, I mean, like, okay, he got fundamentally. He's fundamentally sound. I said that's going to be his downfall because although he's fundamentally sound, it's not hard to prepare for Errol Spence because you know all of what Errol Spence is going to do. If you know he's fundamentally sound, you're going to pay attention to the fundamentals, how somebody fight fundamentally. And although, and I also said, okay, his style is easy to prepare for, that doesn't mean that you're going to win the fight when you get in the ring because you have to be able to deal with his style, like deal with his pressure, deal with his, you got an okay jab, you got a good jab. I never thought Errol Spence had a great jab. I just thought he had a committed jab. He had a nice, consistent, committed jab. I never thought it was a great jab. It's a good jab because a lot of times he pauses with the jab, he reaches with the jab, he gets kind of lazy with the jab and don't pull it back to his face. So I never thought it was a great jab, but I thought it was really good. But I told people that his jab is not better than Terrence Crawford's jab. They just use their jabs in a different way. Errol Spence used his jab primarily to punish you with his jab, where Terrence Crawford will use his jab to punish you, and he will use his jab to set up his punches off his jab, and he will use his jab to find the range. So he uses his jab in different variations. He just don't use it in one variation. You know what I'm saying? So that's why people were saying, well, Errol Spence's jab is better. I said, no, his jab is not better than Terrence Crawford. They just use their jab in a different way. And they both use their jab at a high level with consistency. But I told people that Terrence Crawford was going to be prepared for Errol Spence's inside game. I said that if Errol Spence tried to go to the body, and even Terrence Crawford told him in that meeting in the hallway. Y'all remember when Errol Spence had that red hoodie on? He told Errol Spence, if you try to go to the body, it's not going to work. He told him. He told him in the hall. He told him in that meeting they had. He said, if you try to go to the body, it ain't going to work. I told y'all it was not going to be effective like y'all thought it was going to be effective. I said he's going to counter him when he goes to the body. I said the reason why a lot of fighters are not committed to the body punching that Errol Spence does is because they are worried about the counters upstairs. That's what I said. I said up until this point, Errol Spence has largely been getting away with going to people's bodies because he hasn't really got countered enough with somebody with some power that can make him think about going to the body with volume. It's not really going to the body with volume. It's precision body punching. And I told people that Terrence Crawford is not a volume body puncher, but he is a well placed and precision body puncher. That's how he ended. That's how he got Ndago in trouble. That's how he got a lot of fighters, some other fighters in trouble by using a precision body punching, not necessarily volume. Because when you use a volume body punching like Errol Spence, you kind of playing Russian roulette because eventually you're gonna run into someone that can counter you upstairs, and that's what Terrence Crawford did. After the first round, Errol Spence got desperate because Terrence Crawford stayed in the southpaw stance, and he was using his power hand as his lead hand. That's why he was busting Errol Spence up, because he was using his lead hand, his strong hand, his right hand was his lead hand. So it was like a power punch. With other people, it would be an off punch. For Terrence Crawford, it was a power punch. It's like De La Hoya. He was using the power punch for his De La Hoya is really a left-hander, but he was fighting an orthodox stance. So he was using his strong hand as his power punch. That's why people kept on saying that De La Hoya his offhand was undeveloped. His offhand was undeveloped because his power hand was jabbing you. That's why De La Hoya will cut you up in fights. That's how he cut up Fernando Vargas. He broke Fernando Vargas down with a jab. But nevertheless, let's get back to Terrence Crawford. So that's why I kept telling people that the only thing I give Errol Spence close or maybe a little bit of an edge with Terrence Crawford is on the inside. But even then, I said, if I know Terrence Crawford is really good on the inside, I'm pretty sure that Bomac and them know that Terrence Crawford is good. I mean, that Errol Spence is good on the inside. So either they're going to have a counter to the inside fighting, or they're just going to tie him up on the inside. I said it's a remedy for fighting a person on the inside. Just because he's throwing punches on the inside, that doesn't mean you have to throw punches back on the inside. In fact, I told people, I said, just because Errol Spence may be more willing to initiate inside fighting, and Terrence Crawford is more willing to counter off his Errol Spence aggressiveness in the inside. And I said that I bet you if he started doing that inside fighting, he's going to get countered. And what happened in the second round? He went for that inside fighting because that jab was tearing him up in the first round. Because everybody looking at the first round like Errol Spence's jab was landing. His jab was barely even landing. Terrence Crawford was catching his jab. And he was throwing a power jab. And he was stepping in with his jab. And that's what was busting Errol Spence up. He really hurt Errol Spence in the first round with that jab. If you paid close attention, he hurt Errol Spence in that first round with that jab. But he got a little desperate and he started coming forward. And I said, okay, I'm good. I'm glad. Because I told people, I said, if Errol Spence say he's going to step to Terrence Crawford, I'm happy about that, because he's going to give Terrence Crawford all types of counter shots, counter opportunities. That's what a counter puncher wants you to do. He wants you to come towards him. He wants you to come to him. A counter puncher don't want to go find you. He wants you to come through the front door. He don't want to have to open up the door and go run after you. And I kept telling people that's why Errol Spence's style is tailor-made for Terrence Crawford. His style is not tailor-made for Terrence Crawford. BFTV, BFBTV, or whatever your channel is. You got a pretty decent channel. But I kept telling him his style is tailor-made for Terrence Crawford. I said, don't be surprised if he beat him up and then stop him. Because I already had him stopping him. I had him stopping him a long time ago. Before all the car accident and all that stuff, I had Terrence Crawford winning the fight. I got videos from 4 or 5 years ago saying that he's going to stop that boy. So I'm not Johnny come lately. I haven't came in the last 2 years. I was saying it when Terrence Crawford was at 140. When he was at 135, I made a video saying Terrence Crawford can beat all those guys at 147. The only person that's going to give him a challenge to me because of his style is Keith Thurman. I said Errol Spence has never been a threat to me for Terrence Crawford. Never. I always thought he was going to knock him out because his style lends Terrence Crawford to knocking him out. It just does. And anybody with two eyes can see that. Anybody with two eyes and no boxing can see that his style lends to Terrence Crawford stopping him because he's gonna try to pressure Terrence Crawford. And what Terrence Crawford does when guys press him, he gets even more counters, even more sharp, and he finds your chin or the temple or whatever he finds, and he finds it with precision. So that's not the way to beat Terrence Crawford. I know the way to beat Terrence. I mean, not that you're gonna beat him doing it, but it's a better chance of beating Terrence Crawford different ways. You're not gonna press him and beat him. That's not gonna be the way. That's a way for you to get knocked out, for you to stop. But I never thought at long range he was gonna better handle Terrence Crawford. On the back foot, he wasn't gonna better. See, Terrence Crawford could have won this fight so many ways, man. It's not even funny. He could have won the fight going forward, going backwards, going to hunt Errol Spence. Oh, y'all, people told me that Terrence Crawford is not a hunter. Yes, he is. Terrence Crawford is a hunter. Now, he doesn't just hunt you when he gets people hurt. Yes, he does hunt you when he gets you hurt, but Terrence Crawford hunts people before he gets them hurt. Y'all just not looking at it. Y'all just don't want to look at it and see it because y'all thought that department went only to Errol Spence. Y'all thought that Errol Spence was the only one that goes out and hunt people and stop people. No, Terrence Crawford also does that. He doesn't do it primarily, but he does it. He mixes things up. While Errol Spence fights, and then that's another thing. Terrence Crawford never got out of first gear in that fight. Never got out of first gear in that fight. He beat Errol Spence in the first gear. He never got out the second gear, and he took mercy on the man. And I believe he carried him for 3 rounds in that fight. Three rounds in that fight. He could have been stopped that man. He could have stopped that man in round 4, round 5, round 6. He could have been stopped that man. I believe he felt sorry for Errol Spence. I felt sorry for Errol Spence. I was saying stop the fight because it was just too. He was too wide open. This man landed 58% of his power punches. 58%. That got to be close to a copy box record. Landing 58%. If you land 30 to 35% of your power punches, 40% of your power punches, you finna stop somebody. And look, I give it to Errol Spence. That boy got a chin on him because he took some hellacious shots. Shots that he probably would just end your career because he took so many. Like psychologically, he has to come back from that. And if he can come back from it and rebuild his career, to me it's better if you go in there and you get hit by 1 or 2 shots and then somebody put your lights out and count you out 1 through 10. It's another thing to go in there and take punishment for round after round after round after round after round. That is what ends your career. That is what's hard to come back from. A beating like that. But we'll see, man. But like I said, Derrick James is at fault because you should always supposed to, as a trainer, you're supposed to study every threat in the division and every possible threat. That's what you're supposed to do as a trainer. That should be your main focus as you training your fighter and giving. Because if Derrick James would have focused and studied Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence would have been having different wrinkles to his game. If Errol Spence is fighting the same way he fought when I seen him when he had 15. I think Errol Spence had 15 or 16 wins when I first seen him on TV. He's fighting the same way then as he did all the way up to the Ugas fight. Nothing new. No new wrinkles, no nothing. So you mean to tell me this man did not evolve over the years, didn't add no new wrinkles? Meanwhile, Terrence Crawford adding all these new wrinkles to his game. This dude add no new wrinkles to his game. Now that's insane. To me that's on Derrick James too, because Derrick James supposed to come in the gym when they working on things and say, look, we need to work on this. We need to add this. We need to add that. I'm not saying nothing major. I'm just saying different wrinkles. Different wrinkles. Like Errol Spence barely even uses different trajectories and angles on his punches. He doesn't. He uses the same angle. So you mean to tell me against a guy like Terrence Crawford, who's cerebral, IQ in the ring, you're not going to use different variations of punches, and you're not going to use different angles on your punches. So you're going to use the same basic fundamental angles. Oh, he's going to pick those up like that because he also knows the fundamentals. Terrence Crawford is also fundamentally sound. We just don't talk about it because he has so much other things that we talk about his fundamentals second. We talk about, and some people don't even talk about Terrence Crawford fundamentals. But I've been telling y'all that he's also fundamentally sound. He's more fundamentally sound. He's more fundamentally sound than Errol Spence. And Derrick James like, oh, he was looking at. I remember that All Access too. He looking at the tape of Terrence Crawford. He said, oh, he's more of an athlete than a boxer. I don't know what he's looking at. I'm not even getting paid like Derrick James. And I know Terrence Crawford is more than just an athlete. I don't know what he's looking at. Maybe he was saying that for clout. I don't know why he was saying that. Maybe you know what? I believe that Derrick James know that Terrence Crawford is more than just an athlete. He just didn't want to say it on camera. But I believe, trust me, behind closed doors, that man knew that Errol Spence was not going to win that fight. PBC knew most likely that man wasn't going to win that fight. What I think is a rematch in the contract. That rematch is not for Terrence Crawford. That rematch is for Errol Spence, man. That rematch is not for Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford always knew he was going to beat Errol Spence. Derrick James, Bo Mack already knew that. That's why he said at the press conference, Derrick, you can't hide him no more. You can't hide him no more, Derrick. That's why Derrick James got so irate because he knew these fighters and these trainers know these fighters. They know the fighters that's coming up, and they know the fighters that are already arrived. They know what fighter can beat another fighter because they seen these guys all in the amateurs, man. They seen these guys since they was like 12, 13, 14 years old, 15, 16, all the way up. They know who's the good and who's not the good. They know what style is bad for this style, bad for this person, bad for that person. Man, I'm out, man.